This is part 9 of Federalist number 12. It is therefore evident that one national government would be able at much less expense to extend the duties on imports beyond comparison, further than would be practicable to the states separately or to any partial confederacy. Hitherto, I believe it may safely be asserted that these duties have not, upon an average, exceeded in any state 3%. Again, he's talking about commerce, how these 13 states, because of their commercial in spirit, they like to trade, they will be able to get revenues for the federal government from the duties, from the tariff, from the tax on the imports, a uniform tax, the same percentage on anything that comes in any port of the state, and this way do away with having to create problems amongst the 13 states, because they will have either different rates for on imports or a host of other problems. So if you recall, this is what this Federalist is all about. So he goes back at it again. He says that some of these taxes that are laid upon some of these imports in the United States has been somewhere around 3%. And then he compares it with France and England or Britain. In France, they are estimated at about 15%, quite a bit. And in Britain, the proportion is still greater. There seems to be nothing to hinder means block or slow down, their being increased in this country to at least treble their present amount. The single article of ardent spirits under federal regulation might be made to furnish a considerable revenue. Okay? I said it, I think, in 2 or 3 videos again about the excise tax, and sometimes they would lay that tax, assign that tax to spirits, to alcoholic liquors. So here Hamilton is talking about that could be a great source of income, and he's going to say why here in a little bit. Upon a ratio to the importation into this state, the whole quantity imported into the United States may, at a low computation, be estimated at 4 million gallons. So he says somewhere around 4 million gallons of spirits comes into the United States. They used to drink a lot back then, and they still drink a lot in the United States, which at a shilling per gallon would produce 200,000 pounds. He says we can get 200,000 pounds just by the tax we can lay on the spirits that will be imported into the country. That article would well bear this rate of duty. And if it should tend to diminish the consumption of it, such an effect would be equally favorable to the agriculture, to the economy, to the morals, and to the health of society. So here's one of those first times that you see in these Federalist papers. He says there are certain taxes that if laid, even if they're heavy, they could be good. Number one, they bring money for the government. And at the same time, maybe when you raise the taxes, people will consume less, eat less, drink less of whatever it is that you think they should not be eating or drinking. For health reasons, for moral reasons, he says it'll be good if fewer people drink or drink very little. As a matter of fact, the only amendment to the Constitution of the United States that was repealed, that was actually canceled, is the amendment that has to do with prohibition. They prohibited the sale of liquor in the United States. You've probably seen it in the movies, old classic movies of the Prohibition era. Prohibit means to stop, to legally or otherwise to make something stop, say it's not good for you. So prohibition is when they passed an amendment that they said the sale of liquor is not allowed, the sale of spirits. So just like we talked a little while ago, there's always smugglers, people that want to do the work, make money on the side illegally. So there was a lot of smuggling, and eventually in 1933, because economy was bad in the United States and a whole lot of things for the 10 years leading up to 1933, people said, no, we want to drink. So they repealed the amendment. This is the only time that an amendment has been repealed. So I thought it's relevant to this. It's saying that people are going to drink. American people are going to drink, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we might as well just tax it. By taxing it, if we tax it in a way where it can bring a lot of money to the government and at the same time discourage people from drinking a lot, from consuming it a lot. When people consume it less, they go to work, they tend to their families more. So he says it's kind of multiple positives come out of it. There is perhaps nothing so much a subject of national extravagance as this very article. I mean, there's one thing that a lot of people consume, use, abuse, and so he says this is a good idea for us to tax this thing, drinking, spirits. Then he goes to the next paragraph. What will be the consequence if we are not able to avail ourselves of a resource in question in its full extent? A nation cannot long exist without revenue. Destitute of this essential support, a nation cannot exist without money coming into its treasury. And destitute means being short of something, being in need of something. Destitute of this essential support, destitute of this essential thing, it must resign its independence and sink into the degraded condition of a province. We don't have enough money, we're going to be acting like beggars. We can't get credit from other countries. They won't trust us. And we will be almost like a dead body, always not being able to do anything. And it must resign its independence and sink into the degraded condition of a province. And it would be, and its independence will mean nothing. It would be in the hands of other powers to decide what the future of this country is. We cannot pay for our expenses, if we cannot count on having enough money in the treasury so that when an emergency happens, we can take care of it, run the government, then we'll always be dependent on other countries. And if you're dependent on other countries financially, you'll just be played with. You won't mean anything to them. They won't respect you. I think I better stop here and we'll finish in the next video.